The arena was larger than any city the human had ever seen. Cold metal floors stretched in every direction. High walls rose into the dark sky, covered with glowing symbols and screens. Millions of alien eyes watched from ships, towers, and distant. Worlds. At the center of it all stood one human. He was small compared to the guards around him. No heavy armor. No glowing weapon. Just a simple suit, torn at the shoulder, stained with old blood and dust. Across from him, on a floating throne of black crystal, sat the Empress. She was tall, elegant, and terrifying. Her crown floated above her head like a ring of fire. Her eyes glowed with calm power. She ruled 1,000 systems, and no one dared to challenge her. She looked down at the human and laughed. It was not a loud laugh. It was slow, sharp, and cruel. The kind of laugh that said she already knew the ending. So this is the human, she said, her voice carried across the arena by unseen force. This is the creature they call dangerous? The crowd reacted instantly. Some aliens laughed. Some hissed. Others watched with open curiosity. The Empress leaned forward slightly. You survived capture. That alone is rare, she said. But survival is not strength. The human said nothing. He kept his head lowered. Not in fear, but in thought. The Empress raised one long finger. Behind the human, the ground shook. A deep sound rolled through the arena, heavy, alive. Energy barriers flickered open, and something massive moved in the shadows. The crowd went silent. Slowly, the beast stepped forward. It was enormous. 4 legs, each thick like a building pillar. Skin covered in dark plates, cracked and scarred. Its eyes burned red, filled with hunger and old rage. Bones hung from chains around its neck. Not animal bones, armor pieces. Alien armor. This, the Empress said proudly, is Karzoon. The beast roared. The sound hit the human like a wall. The air shook. Some aliens covered their hearing organs. Others cheered wildly. Karzoon has killed generals, the Empress continued. Champions, entire strike teams. She smiled. No one survives him. She looked back at the human. Then she laughed again. But today, she said, I am feeling generous. The Empress stood, floating above her throne. Her voice grew louder. Human, she said, I will give you a chance. The human slowly raised his head. For the first time, the Empress saw his eyes clearly. They were not wide with fear. They were calm, focused. She paused for half a second, then continued. If you defeat this beast, she said, waving a hand toward the monster, and if you survive, the crowd leaned in, you may have my entire kingdom. For a heartbeat, the arena was silent. Then it exploded with laughter. Aliens screamed in disbelief. Some pounded the walls. Others mocked openly. A joke. Someone shouted, she is mocking him. A human ruling an empire? The Empress smiled wider. She enjoyed this. The human did not react. He looked at the beast. Then at the ground, beneath his feet. Then at the walls, the lights, the shadows. The Empress noticed. You do not laugh, she said. Do you understand what I said, human? Yes, he replied. His voice was calm, not loud, but clear. That surprised a few in the crowd. You believe you can win? The Empress asked. The human thought for a moment. I believe I can try, he said. More laughter followed. The Empress shook her head. Humans are strange, she said. So weak, yet so stubborn. She raised her hand. Chains around the beast snapped free. The ground trembled as it stepped closer. Its breath came out like smoke. Its claws scraped the metal floor. The human took a slow breath. Memories flashed through his mind. Earth, cold nights, long wars, enemies bigger, stronger, faster. He remembered one simple truth. Humans did not survive by being the strongest. They survived by refusing to give up. The Empress sat back down, amused. "Let this be quick," she said. "I have other matters to attend to." The beast lowered its head and growled. The human adjusted his stance. The arena lights dimmed. A countdown appeared in the air. 3.2.1. The gates slammed shut. And, as the beast charged forward, the human smiled for the first time, not because he was confident, but because the Empress had made one mistake. She thought this was a game, and the fight for the kingdom had just begun. The moment the gates closed, the noise of the crowd faded into something distant and dull. It was as if the arena itself was holding its breath. Curzon charged. Each step shook the metal floor. Cracks spread like spider webs beneath its weight. The beast moved faster than its size should allow, its claws slicing sparks from the ground. The human did not run. That alone confused the watchers. Most fighters screamed. Most tried to escape. Most died in the first seconds. The human stepped to the side at the last possible moment. The beast missed him by inches. Its massive body slammed into the arena wall. The impact sent a deep boom across the stadium. Dust and broken metal rained down. The crowd roared in surprise. The Empress leaned forward, her smile fading just a little. "Interesting," she murmured. Curzon turned quickly, faster than expected. Its red eyes locked onto the human again. It had learned something. The human now moved, not fast, not slow, careful. He watched the beast's legs, its breathing, the way its tail dragged slightly to one side. The beast attacked again, swiping with a claw large enough to crush a transport ship. The human rolled beneath it. Pain shot through his shoulder as he hit the ground. But he stayed silent. Silence was survival. He grabbed a broken piece of metal from the floor and threw it, not at the beast's head, but at its eye. The shard bounced off uselessly. The beast roared in anger and slammed its fist down. Too late. Human was already moving. The ground shattered where he had been lying. Aliens began whispering to each other. This was not how humans were supposed to fight. Up in her throne, the Empress tapped one finger against the armrest. "He is learning," she said calmly. "Curzon does not like prey that thinks." The beast charged again, changing direction. Mid-run, it was adapting. The human felt the rush of air as claws passed near his chest. A deep cut opened across his side. Warm blood soaked his suit. The crowd cheered. The Empress smiled again. "Ah," she said softly. "There it is." The human stumbled but did not fall. He pressed a hand to his wound, feeling the pain clearly now. Pain meant he was alive. He moved toward the center of the arena, where broken pillars and old weapons lay scattered from past fights. The beast followed, confident now. Too confident. Curzon lunged. The human jumped onto a fallen pillar and climbed upward as fast as he could. The beast slammed into the base, shaking it violently. The pillar tilted. The human almost lost his balance. He jumped down behind the beast as it struggled to turn. For the first time, the crowd went quiet. The human was standing at the monster's back. He had no blade, no gun. Only his hands. And his mind. He grabbed a chain hanging from the beast's neck and wrapped it around his arm. The metal burned his skin as the beast roared and spun. The human was thrown through the air. He hit the ground hard. The breath left his body in a sharp burst. Darkness pressed in at the edges of his vision. High above, the Empress stood. "Enough," she said. "This is ending." She raised her hand. Energy began to gather. The beast lifted its head and prepared to strike. The final blow. The human lay still. The crowd assumed it was over. But then, the human moved. Slowly, painfully, he pushed himself up onto one knee. Empress froze. The beast hesitated, confused. Why was the prey still alive? The human looked up at the towering monster. Blood ran down his face. He smiled again, not wide, not proud. Determined. He had seen this before. Big enemies always trusted their strength. They never respected Endurance. He whispered something under his breath. A word from Earth. Old. Simple. Again. The beast charged. And this time, the human ran toward it. The crowd gasped. The Empress stood in silence, because for the first time since the arena was built, the human was not surviving, he was fighting back. Asterisk. The arena smelled of burned metal and blood. Curzon slowed its movement for the first time, not from pain, but from confusion. The human stood several steps away, breathing hard, shoulders shaking. Any scanner would say he was finished. Any doctor would say he should already be dead. But humans were not built to listen to scanners. The beast circled him, claws scraping the floor. It was no longer rushing. It was thinking. The crowd felt it too. The noise dropped to a low murmur. Some leaned forward. Others stopped cheering completely. High above, the Empress watched without blinking. He should have broken by now, she sighed quietly. Curzon has never failed to crush prey this slowly. The beast lunged again, but not straight. It fainted. The human barely avoided the strike. The claw cut air where his head had been a moment before. He rolled, slammed into a broken pillar, and stayed down longer than before. The Empress smiled. Yes, she said. Stay down. The beast raised one massive foot. It was the perfect ending. But instead of panic, the human did something strange. He laughed, not loud, not proud. Tired. The sound echoed strangely in the arena. The beast hesitated. Predators did not understand laughter. The human's fingers closed around something sharp. A long metal spike, half buried under the floor. He had seen it earlier. He had waited. The beast stepped forward. The human slammed the spike into the ground. Energy flared. A sudden shock wave ripped across the arena floor. The beast stumbled. The crowd gasped as blue light raced along hidden lines beneath the metal surface. Ancient systems. Old defenses. The arena had been designed to protect rulers, not fighters, the human had guessed. Curzon roared as energy climbed up its legs, locking its joints for a brief moment. Just a moment. But moments were enough. The human ran. Not away. Toward the beast's side. He jumped, grabbed a broken chain, and used the creature's own weight against it. The beast collapsed onto one knee with a thunderous crash. The crowd erupted in chaos. No, someone shouted. That's not possible. The Empress stood slowly. Her expression had changed, not anger, interest. He is using the arena, she said. Not strength. Environment. The human climbed higher, pulling himself onto the beast's back. Curzon thrashed wildly. The air filled with dust and sparks. The human held on, every muscle screaming. His hands slipped. His vision blurred. He pressed his forehead against the beast's armored skin. On Earth, he had learned one rule. If you cannot overpower something, become something it cannot remove. The beast slammed itself against the wall. Once. Twice. The human screamed in pain but did not let go. Then he saw it. A damaged plate near the beast's neck. Old. Cracked. A weak point. He forced the spike into the gap with everything he had left. The beast roared louder than ever before. The sound cracked. Screens across the arena. Blood not red, but dark and steaming spilled down its side. The beast staggered. The Empress's hands clenched. This is going too far, she said sharply. Energy weapons began to rise around the arena. The crowd screamed in protest. They wanted to see the end. The beast shook violently, trying to throw the human off. The human lost his grip and fell. He hit the floor hard. Everything went silent. Again. Smoke filled the air. The beast stood tall once more. Wounded, furious. The human did not move. For several long seconds, nothing happened. The Empress relaxed slightly. It is over, she said. Then the beast took one step and collapsed. The entire arena shook. Curzon crashed onto its side. Motionless. The crowd froze. The Empress stared. And in the dust, the human finally moved. He rolled onto his back, staring at the ceiling, still breathing, still alive, not victorious. Yet not because he knew one truth. Beasts could fall. Empires were next. Asterisk. The arena did not cheer. It whispered. Screens across the galaxy showed the same image again. The fallen beast. The small human shape beside it. Neither moving. For the first time in centuries, the great arena felt unsure of itself. The Empress stood frozen, one hand resting on the arm of her throne. Her eyes searched the dust below. "Rise," she commanded quietly. Nothing happened. Medical drones moved closer. To the beast, scanning its massive body. Red warnings flashed. Life signs were weak. Fading, unstable. Karzun was dying. A sound moved through the crowd. Not laughter. Not cheers. Fear. The human lay on his side. Chest rising and falling slowly. Every breath hurt. Every thought felt heavy, but he was alive. That fact alone broke the rules of this place. On a lower balcony, alien nobles whispered to one another. This was not meant to happen. He was supposed to break. What if he doesn't? The Empress lifted her chin. "This changes nothing," she said, more to herself than to the crowd. The promise was made in humor. She raised her hand. Energy fields began to form. Around the arena floor. The human felt the air shift. Danger. He forced himself to roll onto his knees. His hands shook. Blood dripped onto the metal beneath him. The crowd saw it. A low sound rose, confused. Uncertain. The Empress noticed. "Stay down, human," she said. "You have already impressed me." The human looked up. Her voice sounded far away, like an echo from underwater. He pushed one foot forward. Then the other. Standing felt impossible. He stood anyway. The arena went silent. The Empress's eyes narrowed. "Why?" "Do you rise?" she asked. "The beast is finished. You have nothing left to prove." The human wiped blood from his face. "I am still here," he said simply. The words carried across the arena. Not loud. Not proud. True. The Empress felt something tighten in her chest. This was not how victories looked. Victors begged. They celebrated. They collapsed in relief. This human did none of that. A loud crack echoed behind him. Karzun twitched. Gasps erupted. From the crowd, the beast's eye opened slightly. Glowing faint red. It was not dead. The Empress's calm shattered. "End this," she ordered. Weapons charged around the arena. The human heard the rising hum. He turned slowly, facing the beast. Again. His legs shook. His vision blurred. But he moved forward. Each step was heavy. Each step hurt. The beast tried to rise and failed. Its body dragged across the floor. Tearing metal. It roared weakly. The sound was no longer proud. It was afraid. The human reached the creature's head. He looked into its eye. For a moment, the galaxy expected cruelty. Instead, the human rested one hand on the beast's armor. "You were used," he whispered. "So was I." He stepped back. The beast let out one final breath and went still. Silence returned. True silence. The Empress lowered her hand. Slowly. Her weapons powered down. The promise echoed in her mind. "If you defeat this beast and survive, my entire kingdom is yours." She had laughed when she said it. She was not laughing now. The human turned toward her. He did not bow. He did not threaten. He simply stood. Waiting. And in that moment, the Empress realized something dangerous. The fight had ended, but the challenge had only just begun. The Empress did not sit back down. She remained standing, tall and still, as if the throne behind her no longer mattered. Her eyes stayed fixed on the human below. The arena was silent, but it was not empty. Across the galaxy, rulers, generals, and merchants watched their screens without blinking. They had seen battles before. They had seen miracles too, but this was different. The beast lay dead, not slain in glory. Not torn apart in rage, defeated. By patience, the human stood alone. At the center of the arena, his breathing was slow now. Controlled. Blood dried on his skin. Pain was still there, but it no longer ruled him. The Empress spoke at last. "Human," she said, her voice sharp and clear. "Do you understand what you have done?" The question was not anger. It was warning. The human looked up at her. "Yes," he said, "I survived." Murmurs rolled through the crowd. The Empress stepped forward, floating closer to the edge of the platform. "You have embarrassed my empire," she said. "You have broken a symbol that ruled by fear." Her gaze hardened. "And you have done it without asking permission." The human said nothing. He knew this moment was more dangerous than the fight. Strength could beat a beast. Words challenged. A throne. The Empress raised one hand, and the arena screens changed. They showed old victories. Burned worlds. Karzoon standing over mountains of dead champions. "This creature was my warning to the galaxy," she said. "Now it is gone." She lowered her hand. "Tell me, human, what do you think replaces fear?" The human thought carefully. "Respect," he said. The word landed heavily. Some aliens reacted with anger. Others with interest. The Empress laughed. Again, but this time it was different. Short. Controlled. "You speak boldly," she said. "Too boldly for someone who still belongs to me." The guards around the arena shifted. Weapons unlocked. The crowd felt the tension tighten. The human looked around, then back at her. "You made a promise," he said. The Empress's smile faded. "A promise spoken in amusement," she replied. "Not law." The human nodded. "Then let the galaxy decide," he said. Every screen flickered. Millions of viewers leaned closer. The Empress froze. This was no longer a private matter. The promise had been spoken in public, witnessed by worlds. Breaking it would show weakness. Keeping it would change everything. The Empress turned slowly, looking at the nobles, the generals, the watching stars. She saw it in their eyes. Fear had shifted, not toward the human, toward uncertainty. She returned her gaze to him. "You would rule?" she asked. "You, who crawled through my arena?" The human shook his head. "No," he said. "I would leave." That answer shocked everyone. The Empress frowned. "Then why demand the promise?" The human met her gaze steadily. "So you never laugh like that again." Silence spread like ice. The Empress felt something new. Not defeat, respect, forced upon her. She straightened. "The promise stands," she said loudly. "By my word, the human has earned the right to my kingdom." The crowd erupted, some in anger, some in awe. The human raised one hand. "I do not want your throne," he said. "I want your attention." The Empress narrowed her eyes. "You already have it." The human turned toward the cameras. "Remember this," he said. "Humans do not seek crowns." He looked back at the Empress. "We survived them." And across the galaxy, empires began to rethink everything they knew about humanity. The Empress delayed the ceremony. That single decision shook the empire more than the beast's death ever had. Official channels announced preparations. Advisors spoke of legal review. Priests whispered about ancient exceptions. But the truth spread faster than any broadcast. The Empress was afraid, not of the human strength, not of his wounds, of what he represented. The human was placed in a holding chamber overlooking the capital world. No chains, no guards inside the room. That alone confused the empire. He stood near the window, watching endless lights move across the planet below. Cities layered on cities. A kingdom built over centuries. He felt no desire to rule it. Only to understand it. The door opened softly. The Empress entered alone. No crown, no guards, no audience. Just her. "And him, you should be resting," she said. "I am," the human replied. She studied him closely now. The scars, the calm eyes, You refuse my throne, she said. You reject power that entire species have died for. The human turned to face her. I did not come for power, he said. I came because you laughed. The Empress flinched slightly. That laugh built this empire, she replied. Fear is efficient. Yes, the human said. So is resistance. She walked closer. You think this changes how the galaxy sees you? She asked. One victory does not make a species strong. The human nodded. True, he said. But survival does. She stopped in front of him. Your people are small, she said. Divided. No empire. No fleets like mine. The human looked back out at the planet. We had worse odds, he said. And we are still here. Silence settled between them. Empress spoke again, quieter now. If I keep my promise, she said, my nobles will fear me less. And fear you less is dangerous? The human asked. Yes, she admitted. He turned back to her, then rule without fear. She stared at him, shocked. That is not how empires work. That is why they fall, he replied. For the first time in her reign, the Empress felt uncertain, not weak. Uncertain. You are changing nothing, she said at last. Your people will still be watched, still tested. The human smiled slightly. That is fine, he said. We are used to being tested. She took a slow breath. You will leave my world alive, she said. And you will speak of what you saw. The human nodded. I will. She turned toward the door, then stopped. One question, she said without looking back. Why did you really stand up again in the arena? The human thought for a moment. Because if I stayed down, he said, every human after me would. Be ye expected to stay down too. The Empress closed her eyes briefly. When she opened them, something had changed. Then go, she said. And tell the galaxy this. She looked at him one last time. Humans do not kneel easily. He met her gaze, and we never forget who laughs first. As the doors closed, the Empress understood the truth. The human had not defeated her beast. He had defeated her certainty. The galaxy did not sleep that cycle. Signals crossed borders that had been silent for centuries. Old alliances whispered again. Young empires paused their expansion. All because one human had walked out of an arena alive. The human ship waited. At the edge of the Empress's territory, small, unarmed by imperial standards, Empress stood on the observation deck as it prepared to leave. No guard stood beside her. Only witnesses. You will be watched, she said through the open channel. Closely. The human's image flickered on the screen. We are used to that, he replied calmly. She studied him one last time. You could have ruled, she said. You could have reshaped this empire. The human shook his head. Empires that are given fall fast, he said. Empires that survive. Remember. A long silence followed. Then the Empress spoke again, her voice steady. Your species will be marked, she said. Not as prey. Not as allies. The human waited. As unpredictable, she finished. He smiled faintly. That is fair. The ship's engines began to glow. Across the galaxy, broadcasts replayed the final image again and again. A wounded human standing alone. A dead beast behind him. An Empress no longer laughing. Before the channel closed, the human added one last message. This was not a challenge, he said. It was an introduction. The signal ended. The ship jumped into light. In the Empress's council chamber, voices rose in panic. They will test us. They will resist us. They will never kneel. The Empress raised one hand, silencing them. Then do not force them, she said. Watch them. She turned toward the stars. Species that survive without permission are dangerous. Far away, the human ship reached the edge of known space. He recorded a message for Earth. Simple. Clear. I faced an empire, he said. They laughed. They stopped laughing. The message spread fast. On Earth, leaders listened, soldiers listened, ordinary people listened. They did not cheer. They understood. From that day on, trade routes shifted. Battle plans changed. Diplomats chose their words carefully, not because humans were the strongest. But because they had proven something worse. They could endure. And somewhere in the vast dark between stars, the Empress sat alone on her throne. No laughter. Only thought. Because she knew the truth now. The age of easy conquest was over. Humanity had arrived.